To start with, some of our audience might be unfamiliar with the Bureau of Industry and Security. Do you mind providing a quick high-level overview in how the use of data is having a direct impact on the lives of millions of Americans?
Absolutely. So the Bureau of Industry and Security is a bureau that's housed within the U.S. Department of Commerce. We have been historically obscured and unknown for many over the years, and it's probably within the last 5 to 8 years at least, our profile has been elevated significantly as a result of export controls and export reforms. We are a small bureau that fights above our weight class. We are focused on that intersection of science and technology, goods and services from an export regulatory perspective. So we're split into two arms, in particular, export administration, which crafts and issues the regulations around the exporting of goods and services from a science and technological dual use component, and then export enforcement that enforces the regulatory laws that are set forth by the peers at export administration. We want to promote responsible use of science and technology. We want to promote the democratization of science and technology, but we need to do it in an effective and prosperous and peaceful manner. And so we have a lot of really cool things that are basically endeavored upon by our bureau. Again, we've been in the news a lot lately, whether it's The Economist or New York Times or whatever it may be. We've been playing a central role on the evolution of technology and as it's reflecting in trade policy in around the world. We want to prevent the use of science and technology from being perversed in the wrong hands. We're the regulatory body that helps control that whole flow. And to answer the second part of your question around data, I mean, as the CIO of this National Security Bureau within the Department of Commerce, data is really important because it's information and it's concrete information that allows for evidence-based policymaking. And so it's important for me to be able to have our proper information technology infrastructure and platforms designed in a manner that allows for quick and easy use of the data and have that fidelity capability so that our analysts, our export agents, enforcement agents, our staff can actually take that information in real time and act on it in an effective manner to help keep our country safe.
Super helpful to have that broad understanding. Thank you for that context. As CIO, I want to look at macro trends. What are you noticing in your current role, Nagesh?
I mean, I'm noticing that there's an increased need for understanding information in front of us, right? So like I try to use it into a simple analogy. I might have a piece of fruit and we're all looking at that same piece of fruit, but we're not sure what it is. Some people might say it's a tangerine. Others might say it's a lemon. Some might say it's a navel orange. Others might say it's an apple, to be quite honest with you. But we all know that, the information before us is something. And the question is when people are looking at it and trying to ascertain what it is, having that full transparency and capability in a real-time capacity is what allows people to make strong, quick, effective, and smart decisions. And so that's why data is important. You data-based evidence policy making decision, says, look, the data says this, and that's why, we go forth with this position. And to be able to change our course or pivot in real time, that's based on data. And so we need to know, is it good data, bad data? Is it, questionable data? Being able to make better decisions based on the context of the information before us.
And I think this leads in perfectly to current events and the launch of Snowflake's government and education data cloud.
Yep.
From your perspective, how will this help both federal and local authorities alike in delivering that value that we've been discussing to everyday citizens?
Yeah, absolutely. So, there are a lot of data analytic platforms out there, from all the different companies out there. And Snowflake has been a good partner for us, a good technology partner for us. One of the critical things we have seen is that people have their data, they want to keep their data, they want to keep it as holistic and pure as possible. But when you transfer it, it gets messy sometimes. And so being able to have platforms that can help with the transfer seamlessly is what makes it more effective and useful. And so we've we've benefited from that ability with Snowflake. I think, for example, we had a data sharing kind of project with the U.S. State Department, and we proffered, a test pilot with the use of Snowflake, and everyone was freaking out at the time because we thought it would take a couple hours. We were setting aside time when we were finally going to do this data share with the State Department team, and everyone was preparing on the calendar to be like 1 to 2 hours. Literally took 5 minutes, and it like blew everyone's mind how quick and simple it was. And that's the thing. I think at the end of the day, having an ease of use and that user experience that's effectively helpful for not only folks who are tech, but for non-tech folks. There's a lot of non-tech folks who have to use tech to do their jobs.
Ease of use, lack of complexity, and on a day-to-day basis, driving impact sounds like across the board for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Nagesh, at the top of this program, you mentioned how the BIS fits into the overall Department of Commerce. How will this launch help serve the long-term objectives for commerce?
I wouldn't even just say for commerce. I think for the federal government, the state, local government, it's the ability to have best practices in one area of use, so that folks who want to replicate or try to modify or do things similar to what we've been doing in our endeavors, they can do so, being able to not have to build from scratch. I'm all about open democratization of information. I'm about sharing best practices, because the more people who are doing stuff the same way we're doing stuff, the more minds I get into the pool to help me think out our problem sets better. There are folks out there who are probably doing stuff that I don't know about, and I'd love to know about it, but I can't, I don't have enough hours in the day to go search out the information. So having a central repository would help me in the long term also, because I can connect and see cool stuff happening and go, hey, I want to know more about how you're doing that, because I'd like to maybe try to evolve to that standard too.
Nagesh, we've covered a lot up to this point, but now I want to look towards the future. From your seat, what will you be primarily focused on over the next coming months to years?
Effective delivery. I think that's the critical thing. Is now that we've got some stuff that's working and working well. I came into this job 3 years ago where the state of our IT affairs was very dysfunctional and chaotic. And so I've had to institute a lot of rigor and discipline to get us into a stronger and better state of operational excellence. And we've gotten there. We're stable. We're operating better. I've got a stronger team underneath me who are delivering every day on good results. And so I think, as they say, with any effort, there's a form, storm, norm, and perform. And so I've been here for 3 years now as of June. And so year 1 was forming, year 2 was storming, year 3 was now norming. And now as we approach my 4th year, it's all about performance and delivering on performance capabilities.
Great to have that personal reflection on your journey up to this point. What advice would you give to both public sector authorities and companies in order to make a better and more data-driven future?
Invest in your talent. I think, it doesn't matter where you are or where you're purchased, nonprofit, academia, private sector, public sector, invest in your talent. If you invest in your talent and their capabilities, you'll get better results without a doubt. If you don't invest in your talent, you're just going to allow a morass to get worse. Technology continues to evolve every day. It's changing drastically every day. They say during the pandemic, and I took this job during the pandemic, and we've gotten into a really good operational state during the pandemic. I had to do this. I had to work with a hybrid remote work staff almost. And over the last few years of the pandemic, the state of technology drastically evolved about 10 years worth of time. That's what the data seems to suggest. And so one of the critical things that's happened is you had a lot of technological leapfroggings happening across the board, and people are trying to catch up and be able to be cognizant of all the changes and work with it. So I say again, you have to continually invest in your talent and ensure a learning growth mindset so that they can actually evolve with technology and not stay static.
I would agree, absolutely. And also, in today's hyper-competitive day and age, I think data literacy has never been more important.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Nagesh, it's been an absolute pleasure getting a basic understanding of the BIS, the role that data is having on a day-to-day basis, an exciting next chapter here with the launch of Snowflake's government education cloud launch. Really appreciate your time today.
No, thank you. And again, it's been a great collaborative partnership with Snowflake as we've worked with your technology and solution over the last couple of years, and being part of that journey of development and growth for our agency has been useful. So it's been a pleasure.
For the audience watching, I'm Ryan Green. I'll see you in the next video.